All right, with everything at NAB, you would think I'd be in with all the new stuff. And yeah, the new stuff is impressive. But what's more impressive, right here, with all of this, we've got the Museum of Broadcasting here, which is absolutely fantastic. And they have the most amazing stuff here. Look at that in there. Isn't that the most amazing? Look at all these different, look at this. And this is working. This is actually working right now. I should be careful what I'm touching. Oh, there's some high voltage in there. It's absolutely amazing. These connectors look familiar, don't they? And then these end tabs look very familiar. Wow. So this is an RCA. It's got it's a 3-tube design. It is absolutely wonderful. And this is also a 3-tube design, but you can see how some stuff is labeled in there. So look at that, the in common tally. Isn't that just fantastic? Look at this. All of these machines were basically designed to be worked on because they needed to be worked on. They're analog. They kind of go out of slip. But I want to come around here and talk to the gentleman here. And we have some incredible. So, are you all engineers?
Tell us a little bit about. We are. But there's two museums here.
Oh yeah.
One is from Woonsocket, Rhode Island, near Massachusetts.
All right.
And the other is from Kilgore, Texas.
Oh, fantastic! Hi, Chuck. Very, very nice to meet you, Paul.
Nice to meet you. Hi.
Great stuff. I'm Chris. Nice to meet you. Great stuff. So, what started this all, and how long has it been going for?
Well, two independent groups, one in the East Coast and one in Texas,
right,
have both been collectors, and we both have worked in both an educational situation or a commercial sound situation. And as time goes on, people leave equipment in your possession and they don't take it with them. And in my case, I was with a college in the Boston area that I was far too successful in asking for donations. Can I have that camera when you're done with it? I like that videotape machine. Can I have that when you're through? And I was very successful with it. So we collected far more than we ever needed. And by 1994, 95, it became very clear that we needed to get the stuff out of the storeroom. And it became a larger museum when we bought a building that was a former bank.
Wow.
It's in Rhode Island, and the building was distressed, and we were able to put some money in to fix it. But it's now the Museum of Broadcast Technology in Woonsocket.
I would love to visit that.
We're not open for public meeting
really?
yet. We're on by appointment only, but we're getting there. But our good friend over here, Chuck, has a different story.
Tell us all about it, Chuck.
Well, it's a lot of similar stories simply because I've been collecting this stuff forever. In fact, even when I went off to college, my father made me clean out the basement because I'd been bringing back old radios and things from the town dump and playing with them and fixing TVs and things like that. And I've always been fascinated by this stuff. And it just accumulates. It's kind of like coat hangers in your closet. You don't know where they come from. The stuff, it just grows. It just shows up one day. But it's a similar story. I just had a whole bunch of stuff. I met another guy in town that also likes gravitationally enhanced devices. The heavier, the better. And we kind of got together and kind of went, we ought to do something with this. Because I've got a whole ton of it. He's got just a gazillion pounds of stuff. So we decided to start a museum, and we had to go in the search of finding a place to put the museum.
Yeah.
That was kind of special. And we ended up in what used to be a car dealership. It's a really big building. It's about 18,000 square feet.
Wow.
And we thought, we'll never fill this up. Wrong. We've had to get another building for over.
Oh my goodness, really?
For more stuff. It comes in all the time.
Let me interrupt you and tell you, one of the things that is common to what we do, even though he's in Texas and we're in the East Coast, there's a tripod of effort that we work on. One is the preservation. We want to preserve the things before they get to us. We want to restore them as best we can to at least function the way they were originally. Then we want to educate. So preservation, restoration, education is what we do. He has a whole studio that he brings kids in and students. We haven't quite got that yet. We have some groups that come. But that's the whole reason we're here today with this display you've been taking pictures of, is that there is a progression of cameras from 1975 up to 1980 or 82. But there are people who have come to the show that have never seen a Plumicon tube, did not have any understanding that there had to be a beam splitter with a prism and three sensors. So this whole thing is part of an educational process, and he does it better than we do, I think.
You've got
That's
it.
debatable, but it is. Kids have never seen any of this stuff. I mean, they have no idea. They think everything is done on a phone,
Yeah.
an iPhone or something, and they just don't know. I mean, I had a kid come out to the radio station one day. It was a bunch of little Cub Scouts from Kilgore, obviously, and when you first come in the room, the front door of the place, there's a wall, that's slat wall, it's got some old radios and some microphones and a crank-up phonograph, and with a big red Morning Glory bar and everything. And I thought I'd show them that before I showed them the radio station, which is actually a couple of Hewlett-Packard computers. They look like computers. So I started cranking this thing, and this kid says, "Why are you cranking that?" I said, "Well, it was made in 1905. He goes, "Huh?" Well, I said, in 1905, life was a lot different. Most people didn't have electricity. He goes, "Oh, everybody's got electricity." Of course they had electricity. I mean, and I said, hardly anybody had a phone. And this little red-haired kid says, "Now, wait a minute. You're putting me on. If they didn't have phones, how'd they get on the internet?" As you can tell, I'm not usually at a loss for words, but that one stumped me for a second. And that's kind of when I went, these kids really got to know this stuff.
Well, I think a lot of what I'm seeing here is that the concepts that are in this, that are in these cameras, the ideas, it's just miniaturized.
I think the same. And the end product is still the same thing. So, we come a long way.
It's absolutely crazy. I share a little bit of this. So I started off as a comms tech engineer for the police. And we used to repair small walkie-talkie radios, base stations, and then microwave hilltop, And we did the VHF and UHF stations too. I used to service all those. And then from there, I went into working abroad using RF technology for RF welding and for heating and induction. It's Colpitt's oscillator instead of, it's a different type of oscillator, but I've always had a fascination for older equipment. The way that things are physically built and how the care that went into them and just the engineering, it's just right up my alley.
Of course, if you were doing two-way radio, walkie-talkies.
Yeah. Or talkie-talk. What was this one called?
Wow. Handy-talkies.
Handy-
Motorollas were called handy-talkies.
And this is the lookie-talkies.
This is the handy-lookie.
Handy-lookie, there you go. I was almost there. Handy-lookie, HL.
From the Japanese.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Well, that's because
HL.
you joke.
No.
Because those people, before they made TV cameras,
They did
the
walkie,
things
yeah.
they made were two-way
Two-way radios,
radios and
yeah.
wireless microphones.
Yeah.
So they knew they competed with
Motorola.
Motorola handy-talkies.
Yeah.
And when they were dragged into the camera business, I think largely by CBS originally, obviously it had to be a handy-lookie.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Yeah.
What a great story.
So that's where that came from.
That's
But
absolutely wonderful.
But it's real. That camera actually says handy-lookie
Yeah.
on it. Movie on the life of Bob Dylan, A Complete Unknown.
Yeah.
We provided cameras for the Channel 47 scene.
Wow. Fantastic.
Historically correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
I watched that on the plane coming up here. On my phone.
On your phone,
On
yeah.
my phone, yes. And I'm going, those cameras look really familiar.
Yeah. That was
Just
a great
wonderful.
movie.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. It's a real pleasure to meet you.
Thank you.
Great stuff. All the best. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thanks for stopping.
Great stuff. All the best.
Designed to be serviced. And these modules would come out, those modules would come out, go on an extender, people would work on them. If something had changed, if a resistor or a diode had failed, these are designed to be repaired after they fail. The modern cameras, the little ones, that, like your cell phone, if it fails, I don't think it's going to be fixed.
Now, here's the thing. I've been here for a few days, and it's great. It's good. This is the most I've been smiling, is looking at those cameras and seeing that stuff. The engineering that goes into these things, yeah, that is just way more up my alley. I now realize I now want to go to the museum that's there. That'd be way more fun. I mean, this is good. Don't get me wrong. But that'd be better.